news coming in right now. The CEC sets the ball rolling for a pan-India SIR. This was what was expected. The Chief Election Commissioner has also said the process of a pan-India SIR has already started. Statewide dates will be released very soon. Full Election Commission meet on SIR next. Nationwide revision of poll rolls coming. This was exactly what was expected. What this all the more interesting, Maria, is the fact that the final arguments of the special intensive roll revision in the Supreme Court will only be heard tomorrow. But the Election Commission today has already set the ball rolling. They've made that formal announcement. We're going to quickly pull out what Mr. Nitish Kumar said. The CEC, listen in, and we are back with the latest.
SIR पैन इंडिया की बात, तो अगर आप 24 जून के चुनाव आयोग द्वारा निर्गत आदेशों को देखेंगे तो पैन इंडिया अर्थात हर स्टेट और यूटी में SIR करने का निर्णय चुनाव आयोग ले चुका है। उस पर कार्य भी जारी है, लेकिन उनकी तिथियां राज्यवार या यूटी वार चुनाव आयोग की संयुक्त बैठक में हम लोग निर्णय करेंगे और फिर आपको बताएंगे।
So a formal announcement there only coming in from Nitish Kumar. We all knew, Preeti, that an SIR exercise will be carried out across the country. And now Nitish Kumar, the CEC, making that announcement that yes, it will be carried out. What will be the dates will remain to be seen. But Rajdeep Sardesai joins us live. Rajdeep, two-phase election in Bihar. All political parties are saying that this is what they wanted. They do not want a prolonged election. So two-phase election, how do you look at these two phases? But interestingly, it will be happening after Diwali and also after Chhath.
Look, the first good news, in a sense, Maria, in those election schedule is that Bihar has changed. We often think कि बिहार नहीं बदला है, लेकिन इस मामले में तो कम से कम बदला है कि in the 1990s elections in Bihar would be 4, 5, 6 phases because there was the fear of political violence. It was the age of the muscle man in Bihar, the dabangai which we saw in Bihar, particularly in the late 80s and then in the early 90s. Now there seems to be a greater confidence that you can hold a two-phase election in Bihar, which is the good news that this election brings. A shortened election campaign in terms of the fact that by the time Diwali and Chhath is over, you've got just about 10 days to the first phase, would suggest that whoever is to win Bihar has to build the momentum starting now. There will be very little time left post-Chhath for you to influence voters. And as we've seen over the years, there are increasingly very few floating voters. Most voters often make up their mind, especially in a state like Bihar, where politics has been so polarized for so long. So I'm not sure who gets a real advantage out of that. The NDA clearly is organizationally and resource-wise far superior to its rivals. But the RJD has shown resilience in the past. Right. They were the single largest party 5 years ago. And you would never want to write them off because they do have a core vote. Right. I heard you a short while ago talking about the Congress. I think the big problem is, does the Congress have any core vote left at all in Bihar? All the other parts, the BJP has consistently scored between 19 and 24% Lok Sabha, Vidhan Sabha. The Nitish Kumar has consistently scored around 15% average. RJD has been in the 20 to 24% range. Therefore, the Male has a core vote bank. The Congress becomes the Kamzor Kadi. Right. And therefore, how does the Mahagatbandhan go from 36, 37% to 40, 42% right. is the real Rajdeep, challenge for them.
Multiple questions. Will the Congress still fight 70 seats or will the Congress settle at a seat number which is going to be about 50? Because out of 70, it only won 19. Lots of questions there. Possibly Rahul Gandhi, hoping his Voter Adhikari Yatra has been able to get some amount of traction for him as a leader and acceptability for his party, which even Amitabh Tiwari touched on, where the EBC vote is concerned or the Dalit or a faction of the Dalit vote is concerned. The Congress aside, Rajdeep, let me ask you a quick question where Bihar is concerned. Many consider it a swing state with its complex political shifts. History stands testimony that electoral results in Bihar have always, near always, only but surprised. It also signals a wider, broader political trend where acceptability, across India is concerned, or at least the Hindi heartland comes into question. Let me ask you, Rajdeep, on the X factors. While there are multiple X factors, like Mahila, like Prashant Kishore, if you want to make it personality driven, if there are 5 people who are testing themselves in this battleground, the X factors in terms of personality, Rajdeep, and you have to put your word in on them. From Prashant Kishore to Tejashwi, you have Rahul Gandhi, you have Nitish Kumar, and you have Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of the country. How would you rate right now how they are being perceived in Bihar, or what are they looking at?
I think there are 2 personalities who are really key to an election in Bihar. One is Nitish Kumar. I mean, it's quite remarkable that someone has ruled a North Indian state or has been Chief Minister of a North Indian state for almost 2 decades and switched sides so often. It almost suggests that for any government to be formed in Bihar, Nitish is indispensable. I mean, that's quite a phenomenon. You're not the number 1 party. You're not even number 2. You're number 3 party, but no one can form a government without you. Now, the question is, therefore, how much of an asset does Nitish Kumar remain, or how much of a liability? Does 20 years of anti-incumbency hurt him, or the connect that he has built, especially with women voters, benefit whichever alliance he goes with, and the EBC vote that comes along with? So, Nitish Kumar is one key X factor. The other X factor is, to some extent, Rahul Gandhi, because, look, Rahul Gandhi could claim that in Uttar Pradesh, in the Lok Sabha elections, he seemed to upset all calculations. But Bihar is very different. If you look at the Congress's performance, they've never got more than even 20% of the seats that they've contested. Last time they contested 70, they won 19. Had they won even 30 seats, less than half of what they contested, the Mahagatbandhan would have been in power. So the Congress has shown no signs over the last 25-30 years in any election in Bihar of actually pulling up. So can Rahul Gandhi actually revive the Congress in a state where he talks of the caste census, and in a state where the caste census was actually initiated by Nitish's government when he was in alliance with the Congress and the RJD? The third X factor is Prashant Kishore. Now, when you have a leader who's contesting his first election, it's very difficult to gauge his true popularity. Prashant Kishore is a very good talker. He's very media savvy. He's worked very hard on the ground. But is that enough to translate into votes? Are we seeing a post-Mandal polity where there will be those who are willing to vote for a Prashant Kishore because they want newness in Bihar and move away from traditionally frozen caste alliances? That is the X factor which I think could well decide the nature of the government formed. If Prashant Kishore starts getting more than 10%, I think then Bihar's election becomes fiercely contested. And where does he take his votes from is also going to be key depending on the kind of candidates he puts up. So that makes Bihar interesting. There's always one X factor in a Bihar election that we tend to underestimate. Could Prashant Kishore be that X factor in 2025?
That's fascinating, Rajdeep, because you're talking about Nitish Kumar. He's largely invisible from the political scene. If you look at, he's not holding rallies alone. There are no JDU campaign per se in Bihar. The campaign is of the NDA. On the posters are Prime Minister Modi and Nitish Kumar. They realize that Nitish has to be very constant in the imagery, but he is not doing rallies of his own.
But Maria, you're from Bihar. And
yes.
The fact is, for somebody who was basically, the cornerstone of elections in Bihar today being reduced by the opposition as a caricature.
No, but
where his
not
health
really
is
a
concerned.
caricature. I would say that Bihar, and look at the timing. Rajdeep, when we talk about the time of this election, it's very interesting. Around Diwali, leading up to Chhath, this is the period when the migrants return to their home state. With that also comes the sentiment of, that longing for your state because you have left the state. The state doesn't have the right opportunities, doesn't have the right infrastructure to support your ambitions. For an aspirational Bihari who's back in the state at this moment, what does that significance of the Asmita angle that Nitish Kumar gave to all of us in 2010? Does it really hold now? No, may not. But then there is a new narrative in terms of the freshness that you're talking about, Rajdeep. And please come in. Nitish Kumar remains that pillar which has been very, very significant to Bihar politics. Right now, he may be fragile, but I would still say that from 2015, when we saw that Phirik bar Nitish Kumar, the posters of Mahagatbandhan, it was about Nitish Kumar returning to power again. This time, again, it will be about Nitish Kumar, but with a stronger BJP. Rajdeep. Spoken like
look
a
at
Bihari
Nitish
here.
Kumar's numbers, Maria. In 2010, which was if you look at the high noon of Nitish Kumar, that is 2010. 115 seats. I mean, virtually winning 90% of your seats, getting 22.58%. When you come to 2015, he's now in alliance with the RJD. He gets 71 seats and 16.83. By 2020, he's down to 43 seats and 15.39%. And yet, after all the three elections, he holds all the cards as to who becomes chief minister. It is almost like a triangle in Bihar, where if two sides are on one way, and whichever way Nitish is, because the BJP and RJD can't align, they win the election. Now, that's been the tradition of Bihar. The question is, what is the extent of meltdown, if anything, that's taken place of the JDU? As you said, Nitish is hardly visible. His health condition is uncertain. The future of the JDU is unknown. And yet, somewhere down the line, Nitish Kumar has a core vote. You see, this core vote is what keeps him going. It's not as if Nitish Kumar is seen anymore like he was in 2010 as Sushasan Babu. I think those days are gone. But he's almost seen as the glue that holds Bihar together.
Yes.
And I think one of the fascinating aspects of this election will be not just pre-election, but what happens post-election. How long? Let's assume the NDA wins. Can they just hold on to Nitish Kumar for the next 6 months, 1 year? How long can Nitish keep going? Remember, Bihar is the only state in North India where the BJP has never had its own chief minister. So I think Nitish Kumar, to my mind, and you've got a situation where Lalu Prasad no longer can really campaign. Nitish Kumar may campaign, but he's clearly not the same Nitish Kumar. He's only a mascot at best. We are entering possibly the first signs of a post-Mandal polity. This may not fructify in 2025. It may be seen by 2030. That's why in that interview with Preeti, you've got Prashant Kishore saying, I'm going to stay the course. This is only my first fight.
But Rajdeep, one can sit and romanticize, one can romanticize Nitish, but the fact is his health is suffering. Lalu is out. Would you call this election now the sunset of at least the politicians that emerged from the JP era? It's over from here on. Whatever we are looking at is a new form of politics in years to come.
We don't know. You see, we don't know. The very fact that over the last 4 weeks they've had all these direct benefit transfer schemes is clearly because the BJP somewhere is worried that we cannot afford to have Nitish Kumar melt down like he did in 2020. I mean, the buzz in Delhi was that Nitish Kumar in 2020, there was a deliberate attempt to cut him to size using Chirag Paswan, getting Chirag Paswan to fight the JDU. That's not happening this time. I think the BJP recognizes, yes, Nitish Kumar is vulnerable, he's no longer as powerful, but we still need him. You see, that is the interesting aspect. The BJP realizes after 2015, we can't fight Bihar alone. We need Nitish Kumar. Nitish Kumar zaruri hai, majburi hai. That is the reality. Whether Nitish is frail, he is still a majburi in Bihar.
Absolutely. But Rajdeep, let's be clear that if we are talking about a meltdown, it could very well be of the BJP in this election. Nitish Kumar's last election, as we are talking about the 2025 last election, could be as very well the send-off or the farewell election. In a culturally rooted society such as Bihar, they may just say that Nitish Kumar, having done so much for the state, giving a Bihari a sense of asmita and pride, they would want to give him a dignified send-off.
In 2020, Nitish actually fight that election saying it was his last election.
He said it.
He did that.
He said it. But interestingly, Preeti, there was that Tejashwi narrative which caught the attention of the youth, where he said Nitish Kumar thake hue hain. Nitish Kumar may be thaka hua 5 years ago. Right now, a missing Nitish Kumar is an advantage for Nitish Kumar because he's very much there in Bihar, Rajdeep.
Look, no, he is. I'm not. See, that's why the BJP has realized that. So they're not playing the same games they played 5 years ago. But the BJP is also a factor. Remember, this is a party which got 10.97% of the vote 20 years ago. Last time it got 20% of the vote. It doubled. Now, one of the challenges and one of the key questions is the BJP going to give half the seats to Nitish as they have in the past? Will it be an equal sharing pact between the two? And if there is an equal sharing pact, is the BJP in a position to win 75-80% of the seats like they did in Maharashtra a year ago? Because only then can the BJP really dominate Bihar's politics.
Or Rajdeep, like they did in 2020, 66% vote share.
Not been able
Or strike rate, 66% strike rate.
Sure, but has the BJP been fully... Sure, but has the BJP been able to fully mandalize itself as Bihar's
Yes.
politics requires?
Not yet. Not
Or
yet.
is the BJP step by step inching towards inching towards the stage where it can claim now that we are fully mandalized?
But also,
I don't think they
Rajdeep,
are
the
at
lack
moment.
of a face.
That's why
Does
they
the
need
BJP
DC.
actually
Let's
have a
be very
face which
clear.
could parallel the ones that there are on the political... Yeah, go ahead, Rajdeep. Make your point.
Look, my sense is the face is not what the BJP is riding on. Who did the BJP have between 2005 and 2020? Sushil Modi was their tallest leader. But BJP
Yes.
was not winning votes on Sushil Modi's name. Narendra Modi, OBC factor, became very popular in Bihar himself. Today, Mr. Modi's popularity is probably higher than that of the BJP. The question is,
But
if
it is
this
not
about
what it was.
personalities,
But
then
Rajdeep,
Tejashwi Yadav has an advantage.
in 2015, despite of Modi's popularity, they lost Bihar. BJP lost Bihar in 2015. They came after 2014 when
but
they were on
really,
a high and lost Bihar in 2015.
There's a different reason there.
Sure.
Yes, go ahead, Rajdeep.
But that was because Nitish and Lalu came together. You see,
Came together,
That
yeah.
was in
Arithmetic.
a way the last fight of the two Mandal frenemies. The
Yes.
two Mandal frenemies coming together. Now in 2025, Tejashwi is easily, and all our polls, including Amitabh's polls, show when question is asked, who do you want as Chief Minister? Tejashwi is well ahead of the rest. It almost parallels the vote of the Mahagatbandhan. The
Yes.
challenge for a Tejashwi Yadav, and it's been a challenge for a while, even for Lalu Prasad, how do I make my 32% core vote, or let's say it's at 25% of your own plus your allies 8-9%. How do I take
All right,
it to 40?
Rajdeep, I'm going
How
to
do I
allow
take
me to
34-35%
interject.
to 40?
We
Where
have
do I get?
allow me to interject. Coming right back, hold that thought. We're going to cut across to Rahul Gautam, who's speaking to Pawan Khera. Let's quickly dip in.
और माहौल बना दिया साहब, घुसपैठिए। राहुल गांधी जी की जो वोटर अधिकार यात्रा थी, वो बोले घुसपैठिया यात्रा है। कहाँ है घुसपैठिए, दिखाइए ना आप। तो ये जिस तरह का माहौल चुनाव आयोग ने बीजेपी के साथ मिलकर बनाने की कोशिश की, ये दिखाता है कि हमारी संस्थाओं की क्या हालत बीजेपी ने कर दी है।
एसआईआर को लेके तो आप बिल्कुल भी खुश नहीं है जिस प्रकार से पूरी प्रक्रिया हुई। तो अब जब चुनाव में आप जा रहे हैं तो आपको लगता है कि चुनाव निष्पक्ष होगा?
हम पूरा सुनिश्चित करेंगे कि निष्पक्ष होगा। बिहार की जनता सुनिश्चित करेगी, क्योंकि सब जागरूक हैं, उन्हें मालूम है कि क्या कोशिश की जा रही है, क्या षड्यंत्र रचे जा रहे हैं।
आपको क्या लगता है कि पिछले 5 सालों में क्या बदला? क्योंकि 20 साल से एक छोटा सा पीरियड अगर मैं निकाल दूं तो महागठबंधन बाहर रहा, आरजेडी कांग्रेस। क्या लगता है आपको 5 साल में क्या बदला है आपके फेवर में? क्या मुद्दे होंगे उस चुनाव के जो आपको लगता है?
मुद्दे बहुत स्पष्ट हैं। जो जिस तरह से कानून व्यवस्था चौपट हो चुकी है बिहार की, जो गुंडा राज दिखता है वहाँ, आप देखिए जिनका अपना उप मुख्यमंत्री इतने गंभीर सवालों के घेरे में आ चुका हो, बीजेपी का नेता है।
So both sides now firming up their strategy as the ball has been set into motion for the big Bihar polls, which will be held in 2 phases. In fact, Union Home Minister Amit Shah has said that NDA government has pulled Bihar out of Jungle Raj and has now given a new direction of development and good governance. He has said that he is fully confident that people of Bihar will once again choose the politics of development this time around. Meanwhile, RJD's Tejashwi Yadav has spoken for vote for change. Is Bihar going to vote for continuity or change is the big question. Tejashwi Yadav, who is the leader of opposition, has said for 20 years Bihar endured pain and suffering, and after 20 years it has got an opportunity to not slip back to the same pain and suffering. Let's listen in to what Amit Shah said. Okay, so these are the big statements which have come in from the 2 pillars, the NDA and the MGB, which are fighting this election. We have been talking about Bihar elections as largely a bipolar contest as it has been, but there is an emergence of another factor. Can Prashant Kishore make this a triangular contest is the big question. Sanjay Kumar is joining us. He is of the JDU. We also have BJP spokesperson RP Singh joining us and Pawan Verma representing the Jan Suraj. Sanjay Kumar, coming to you. You know, the question really is the JDU fighting this election along with, because it is, of course, an NDA which is fighting this election. So are we going to be seeing a separate campaign of the JDU, or will there be a joint NDA campaign?
Yeah, so Maria, can you hear me, Maria?
Yes, please go ahead, Dr. Sanjay Kumar.
Okay. So, yeah, so, you know, we have had a lot of joint Karyakarta Sammelans, NDA Karyakarta Sammelans in all the MLA constituency, Vidhan Sabha constituency. And so it will be a joint campaign because NDA is like fighting the election together. And, wherever the BJP is fighting NDA, like JDU, Karyakartas, workers are going to support and work with them. And likewise, BJP
So Nitish Kumar will not have his own public rallies alone. What about those constituencies in which it is about Nitish Kumar? It is about the JDU. Seats where JDU will be fighting alone.
I was listening to Preeti and she was mentioning that Nitish Kumar did not have any rallies in the past or in the last few months.
No,
So
sir, that was Maria. You got the person wrong.
Yes,
that
go
was
ahead.
Maria. Okay. I'm so
yes,
sorry.
I
I'm
said
so
it.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
No problem, sir. Go ahead.
But in the last few months, and in last few weeks, actually, he traveled to different parts of Bihar, and in last few months, he traveled to each district of Bihar and, laid the foundation of several developmental projects. And now he went to inaugurate those projects and also announced several developmental projects. So he has been touring during summer, like entire summer. Last winter, he traveled across the state. So it's not true that he is not going out of Patna. He's traveling everywhere, despite, like all weather, he's been going. And, we are pretty sure.
Okay.
All right, so we're having a problem with your...
confident.
Okay, there's a problem with your video connect, and sometimes it happens at the opportune time. But we're going to leave it. Just stay with us, sir. I'm going to cut across to Rajdeep, but before that, all eyes, viewers. Ultimately, the election in terms of, where you look at a journalist, it is the reporters, the editors on ground who've been covering a state very closely. So the spotlight is going to be over the course of the next month and a half on my colleague Rohit Singh, who's reporting from Patna, knows a thing or two, or possibly as much as Maria, because Maria is from Bihar, and more than us for sure. So Rohit, well, the poll bugle has been sounded. It's a two-phase election. I want to bring in Rajdeep as well, but what does it look like? When can we see seat sharing, announcements? As per you, you've been tracking Bihar very closely. What do you make of the two-phase election, especially the distribution of seats of 121, the heartland of Bihar voting, and then 122, which is the border areas and other peripheral regions of Bihar voting? And ultimately, Rohit, which alliance is in more trouble where seat sharing is concerned, according to you?
Well, it's a new format of voting that we are now seeing, because central Bihar, whatever we are seeing, goes to elections for voting in the first phase, and all the bordering areas goes for voting in the second phase. Also, Simanchal, which is the bordering area. So this is something new that we are witnessing in the last so many years that we have covered elections. But as far as the NDA seat sharing and the Mahagatbandhan seat sharing issues are concerned, one thing is clear in NDA, that Nitish Kumar is leading the alliance and he will be the chief minister phase, and if NDA wins, he will become the chief minister. But that is not the case in the Mahagatbandhan, because there is a lot of trouble in Mahagatbandhan because of the fact that the Congress, after the Voter Adhikari Yatra, and the kind of support it has got in this yatra, the Congress believes that it's a revival of the party in Bihar. The party which has almost been dead for the last 3 decades, it is somewhat in a revival mode, and Rahul Gandhi has felt it. So that is why we are seeing that arm twisting is being done. This time, the Congress does not want things to be very easy for Tejashwi Yadav, and that is why they want that more and more seats should be given to it. Last time they contested on 70, they won only on 19. RJD doesn't want to give so many seats to the Congress party. So that is where the problem has emerged. And Alavaru, who is the in charge of the Congress here, is bargaining very hard behind the scene with Tejashwi Yadav. And that is why the Congress has not even once come out and made any statement that Tejashwi Yadav can be, maybe, might be the chief minister candidate. They have never, because what they want is that first they should get adequate number of seats, respectable number of seats that Congress wants, and then only they will decide.
But Rohit, that respectable number is what? 70 out of 19 the last time around. They scored 19 out of the 70 that they fought. What is the respectable amount? Because before the Voter Adhikari Yatra, the murmurs were that the Congress this time will be happy between the 50 to 55 mark. Now, is there a renegotiation on that? Is the Congress again wanting a proportion of 70 seats? Is that what they're looking at?
See, when the Voter Adhikari Yatra was going on, Preeti, obviously the Congress wanted that they should be getting more seats, maybe about 90 to 100 seats that they had wanted. But I think that the RJD is not in a mood to give that many seats to the Congress party. And what we are learning from sources is that this time the Congress might be given only 55 to 60 seats. And what is most important is the fact that the Congress wants that they should be given those seats where the Congress is strong there. They should not be given those seats where the Congress is very weak
but
and
Congress
they are given that seat to fight by the RJD. So that is also
the question is that, the Congress is trying to build a narrative around what? What do they have to offer in this alliance is the big question also. They have been a weakling in the MGB. They continue to be the weakling. They are not adding to the vote share of Tejashwi Yadav and the RJD is the question. Let me bring in RP Singh of the BJP who joins us. RP Singh, two-phase election. Of course, it is the Prime Minister Modi who is the biggest mascot of the BJP. He is leading the entire election campaign along with Nitish Kumar. Nitish Kumar may be the mukhota, but the real power is coming in from the Prime Minister. And interestingly, as I was trying to point this out, Preeti, all the DBTs which have been announced in the name of Mukhyamantri Rozgar Yojana or Mukhyamantri Yojana, which keeping in mind that it is coming from the Chief Minister, not from the center. Go ahead, RP Singh.
Well, you just now raised a very objectionable word, the Nitish is a Mukota. Fact is, this 1 plus 1 is 11, not 2. And mark my word, when the results come, I'll sit with you on the 14th November. The results will be all in favor of Nitish Babu, and with the support of the BJP, we are going to form the government. The NDA is going to form the government there 100%. But let's understand what's happening on ground. Do you think all those women who have been given 10,000 rupees, almost 1 crore women would have got 10,000 rupees to be Udyami, to be self-reliant? Whom are they going to vote for? And out of them, lot will get 2 lakh rupees also. Those women who have been empowered by giving them 50% reservation in Panchayat, whom are they going to vote for, or who are they going to influence to vote for? Women who has got 30% plus reservation in police jobs, who are they going to vote for? All those women who are today grown-up women, they would have got bicycle under Nitish Babu's scheme, where they would have gone to schools easily to comfortably to study in schools. So ultimately, it is the government of Nitish Babu, and then Nitish Babu has done quite a good job. But along with that, how can you forget? Give me another second. How can you forget that more than 3.5 crore people in Bihar has got the advantage of Ayushman Bharat? How can you forget that more than 1.717 crore women get the gas cylinder there every month and has got the gas connection? So there are a lot of work which has been done by the Nitish government. And no one can forget, you have seen that Jungle Raj, you said you were a reporter and correspondent at that time. When you see the Jungle Raj, which CM office was used for what objectives?
Okay, I want to bring in, from the Jan Suraj party, because many are looking at the Jan Suraj as a possible X factor, or rather Prashant Kishore as a possible X factor. Various surveys, Maria, that we have ourselves put out seem to suggest that Prashant Kishore's name is now tracking right below the name of Tejashwi, where the preferred choice of Chief Minister is concerned. I want to bring in Dr. Pawan Verma, if we have him with us. Do we have him with us? Okay, we don't seem to have him with us, but okay, we're going to cut across to him in a short while from now. But Amitabh Tiwari, ultimately, Prashant Kishore might, and these are political compulsions. You're going to the voters suggesting that you will form the government. This is, Bihar is going to break through the shackles of whatever has been, has bound it for many decades on. But the fact is, how much vote will Prashant Kishore and the Jan Suraj take from which faction will play possibly a crucial role if that percentage of Jan Suraj crosses 10%. Now, it all remains to be seen, Amitabh Tiwari, whether people vote for Prashant Kishore as Prashant Kishore, because then it could very well be the MGB, or it votes... all right, okay, just 1 second. Let's listen in to Tejashwi Yadav speaking.
पढ़ेंगे पन्नों में तो ये सुनहरे अक्षरों से लिखा जाएगा जो तारीख जो 14 नवंबर का जो तारीख होगा, यानी बिहार के लोग बदलाव चाहते हैं। बिहार के लोग जो हैं इस बार महागठबंधन की सरकार चाहते हैं। जो 20 साल से इन लोगों ने अपराध, भ्रष्टाचार, अफसरशाही, तानाशाही, घोटालेबाजी, जिस हिसाब से इन लोगों ने बिहार की सरकार ने जो दिया है, बिहार के लोग जो है त्रस्त हो चुके हैं, परेशान हो चुके हैं और मुख्यमंत्री अचेत अवस्था में। अब बिहार को मुख्यमंत्री गिड़गिड़ाने वाला नहीं चाहिए, जो शेर की तरह दहराए, उस वैसा जो है सीएम जो है बिहार के लोगों को चाहिए, जो बिहार के अधिकार, हक और बिहार के लोगों के साथ इंसाफ कर सके। ऐसा मुख्यमंत्री बिहार को चाहिए। और इस बार सब लोग चाह रहे हैं कि महागठबंधन की सरकार बने और महागठबंधन की सरकार बनेगी और हम सब मिल कर के बिहार के साथ लोगों के साथ सरकार बनाएंगे। और जब तेजस्वी मुख्यमंत्री बनेगा तो कोई बिहार में ऐसा घर नहीं होगा जहां बेरोजगार हमारे भाई बहनें रहेंगे। तेजस्वी आएगा तो हर एक के हाथ नौकरी और रोजगार दिलाने का काम करेगा और आने वाला जो बदलाव होगा, बिहार बेरोजगारी को जड़ से ख़त्म करने का काम होगा। ये उत्सव जो है अब आज से शुरू हो गया है और ये 14 नवंबर के रिजल्ट में ये आएगा और बिहार के लोग इस बार तेजस्वी के साथ हर एक बिहारी सीएम होगा। सीएम यानी चेंज मेकर बनेगा। ये हम सब लोग मिलकर के एक सुनहरा, बेहतर, विकसित बिहार बनाने का काम करेंगे।
एक अंतिम सवाल, जिस तरीके से नीतीश जी आज
Tiwari continues to be with us. It's interesting, you just heard Tejashwi Yadav there. Well, his alliance really hasn't announced him as the chief ministerial face, but in the third person, Tejashwi Yadav has announced himself. And, you know, this is what Prime Minister Modi used to do, acronyms, Maria, where CM, you know, and change maker banega. But nonetheless, Amitabh Tiwari, the question that we were, I was asking you earlier, where the role of Prashant Kishore is concerned, who will he cut into more? Depends whether people vote for him as just Prashant Kishore or vote for him as Prashant Kishore Pandey.
No, see, essentially, if you look at Bihar's history, independents have got 8% to 10% vote share across elections, and others have got around 20%. So the bulk of the vote which he gets is going to come from others. He is going to damage others largely. That's number one. Because all the polls, none of the polls are showing significant dent in the vote share of NDA or Mahagatbandhan. That said, just like LJP, his party will be damaging both NDA and Mahagatbandhan. LJP damaged NDA in 40 seats, Mahagatbandhan in 8 seats. So the net impact was just 8 seats in favor of Mahagatbandhan, you can say. Now, who is voting for Prashant Kishore? If you will have to understand that to understand whom he is likely to damage. One is, of course, youth. Now, youth in 2020 largely backed Tejashwi Yadav. So a chunk of the voters, if he's getting from youth, he is likely to damage Tejashwi Yadav. Again, on the basis of caste, upper caste or Brahmins see him as the next CM after 35 years of power. So some upper caste dent to NDA is also possible. So in different seats, different parties he will be damaging. Now his future depends largely on the quality of candidates he gets. Because 8%, 10% is not significant enough to win a single seat. So he's banking on some heavyweight rebels from BJP, RJD, LJP, etc. so that they add on this 2025.
But Amitabh Tiwari, interestingly, by 9th, which is 3 days from now, his first list of 100 candidates will be out, which essentially means that he will not be waiting for other political parties to announce their candidates, and if any candidate is naraz or upset, will look towards Suraj for fighting this election. That's not going to happen. And how do you look for candidates then who will not be speaking about their caste as much on ground?
No, essentially, even if he is announcing 100, 143 are still left, correct? Because we'll have to see the quality of those seats or where are those seats coming from largely, because he had announced that 3 months after I will announce the candidates. Caste is going to play a key role in elections like everywhere else, Bihar also, and we'll have to see, because I think he is caught in a web of his own, and He's now caught in his
Right.
politician's image and the image of a strategist. Even if he gets 4-5% vote share, he can still justify that I am a newbie party. 4-5% vote share is not less. But I think he's trying to also prove that as a strategist, he can be a kingmaker. So largely, I think now focusing on 25-30 seats, try to force a hung and emerge as the kingmaker even with 5-10 seats.
You know, it's also interesting, Amitabh Tiwari, and I will possibly bring in Sajjan into this conversation. At least where Prashant Kishore is concerned, there's also a dichotomy that should exist ideally, whether he focuses on all seats or he focuses on just a few where he wants to create maximum impact, because ultimately it will be, that vote will be cast in his name. Because, Maria, if we look at the surveys that we've been tracking, the political stock exchange that I actually look at the numbers, the Jan Suraj is not really tracking at the same speed as a Prashant Kishore. Yes. So the votes will come under the name of Prashant Kishore, and how many constituencies, how many seats can he actually track? Because his vote might be 10,000, but he'll need candidates, let's say if it is 10,000, he'll need candidates who will be able to draw in enough number of votes on their own merit. Now, will it happen is that big question. But Sajjan, to bring you back into this conversation, the way things are stacked, because now we are, closing into the end of this broadcast and this coverage, for you, what would be the key factors that you'd be looking at? What are your X factors? We've spoken about the 5 personalities with Rajdeep Sardesai that could possibly play a part in shaping the political future of Bihar when the last vote is counted on the 14th of November. But what are your X factors?
Well, as per the ground scenario, what we expect that Nitish Kumar is going to be the fulcrum of all the X factor, right?
Absolutely. I think you have to talk more about Nitish Kumar. I realize that increasingly he is actually that pillar that is holding this election, like he was in all the last 3 elections. Go ahead, Sajjan.
Yes, true. Broadly, and this is a very crude and broad dichotomy, what we are witnessing, that you find overwhelmingly women are going by the scheme-centric choices. And therein the Nitish Kumar comes prominently, while the males, including the youths, mind it, youths also have a caste and community, right? So they are no more, they are not an autonomous category. So we do find that gendered-wise, and it follows on the plank of Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, etc., you find overwhelming section of women going for scheme-centric choices, and Nitish has the clear advantage. On the other hand, you find male across ages kind of considering the caste community equation. 3, fascination for Prashant Kishore is it's very vague in terms of the moment you find the ones who are admiring Prashant Kishore, and we have found the moment you ask, will you be voting or you people be voting for Jan Suraj, suddenly they'll say that we will look for the candidate. So it's not PK, but rather candidate via candidate. So that way, PK precisely maybe Nota votes. Last time Nota votes in Bihar was around 2%, maybe a couple of more percentage. That's my expectation. But ultimately, it is Nitish Kumar who is going to be the culmination of all the X factors. And he is going to be, I think, perhaps the parallel is Naveen Patnaik of Odisha. Nitish Kumar Sunset certainly maybe in future, but not in this election. And you do not find anything new with Tejashwi, right? In this election, he has nothing new to offer.
But there was a buzz, Maria, because you know
in
Bihar
2020.
2020, there was a buzz the minute he started, the narrative, or he, played to the youth with jobs and the promise of 10 lakh jobs. That changed it for him, and you could see it on ground.
Absolutely. I mean, when you arrived on the ground, you could listen to people who would say that this is what Tejashwi has promised. And there was that energy in his campaign, unprecedented surround sound around Tejashwi Yadav, because he was coming out of the shadow of his father. That was evident as well. So let's try and wrap this up perhaps with closing comments from RP Singh and Sanjay Kumar. Sanjay Kumar, you have also made a transition from being an educationist to now a politician. Will we be seeing you contest as well?
No, not this time. I am supporting the party in all possible manner, being an advocate of what Nitish ji has done in the past and what he is offering to the state. So not this time, but there's a lot of opportunity for someone like me to work for the welfare of the state and strengthening everything in the state.
Okay. RP Singh, your final thoughts? 14 तारीख को क्या होगा?
Well, Bihar is on the right track, और 14 तारीख और 14 तारीख को मैं आपको बढ़िया सी मिठाई खिलाऊंगा।
सर वो तो 14 को ही पता चलेगा, प्रॉमिस कर दिया मिठाई खिलाने का, जो भी रिजल्ट होगा खिलानी पड़ेगी।
खिलाना पड़ेगा
फिर तो खिलानी पड़ेगी
पक्का। 14 तारीख को नहीं, रिजल्ट जो नहीं होगा, नीतीश बाबू मुख्यमंत्री होंगे और दोनों को मैं आपको आपकी मनमर्जी की मिठाई खिलाऊंगा। और बताइए
सर, मिठाई हमको तो सिर्फ मिठाई खानी है, चाहे कोई भी जीते। हमें वो कोई नहीं है, चाहे कोई जीते, पर खिलानी आपको पड़ेगी अब। पर चलिए, आरपी सिंह, थैंक you for taking the time out and joining us. We have, Amitabh Tiwari. Let's bring him in as well, Maria, because ultimately, what is it that will drive this election? Amitabh, you've spoken at length, you've written at length, where the importance of the EBC vote comes into question. A lot of that vote will be defined on the selection of candidates this time around, Amitabh. For you, that still remains one of the biggest X factors. What are the others?
Yeah, of course, clearly the Mahila vote is an X factor, and so is the Jan Suraj party. Of course, as Sajjan has rightly put it, NDA's future in this election depends upon the performance of JDU. If JDU falls to 25, like Prashant Kishore is claiming, and he puts up strong candidates against JDU, like the LJP did, then we could see a very tight contest. Correct. And one of the risks also in the NDA this time is the transfer of votes. That's a big risk factor in the NDA, which a lot of people are not talking about.
If you look at
that
what
if they fall
happened
to
in
25, they will not be CM. Correct.
Yes, 2020, Amitabh, when the election shifted from the first phase to the third phase, JDU's best performance came in the third phase and the second phase. When they went on to win the maximum number of seats, that was also because women voters outperformed men. With the direct benefit transfer of this nature, all the schemes in the name of Mukhyamantri, Rozgar Yojana, and everything is for the women, the Jivika Didis, for the top-ups which has happened, I mean, huge amounts here. Do you think still the women of Bihar who have almost been like a captive voter of Nitish Kumar, can they let down Nitish Kumar in what will be his send-off election, the farewell election?
Finally.
Looks like.
I would not say it's about letting down, because even amongst women, there will be caste-based preferences. Correct.
True.
So it will be largely dependent upon his ability to extract 5-6% women vote from the core vote block of Mahagatbandhan, and that would then tilt the election in his favor.
Amitabh, look at it in terms of, I just want to give you some figures. The CSDS Lokniti figures in terms of how the women voted. One thing is very clear, that women voted an extra % for the NDA than it did where the MGB is concerned. Let's break it down further in terms of caste calculations and how, coming from various castes, how women voted in 2020. And that's, Maria, where it comes down to with also what Amitabh is saying. Where the Yadav women were concerned, 82% voted the MGB, understandably. Where the OBC and the EBC women were concerned, only 18%. A lot of it primarily due to the law and order factor at that point of time, concerned with the fear of the Yadavs and the trust deficit that they had. Voted, only 18% voted for the MGB, while 63% of OBC and EBC women. It's interesting for us to note
which is non-Yadav OBCs.
Non-Yadav, yeah, because I give this Yadavs separately, right? So non-Yadav OBC, 63% and EBCs voted for the NDA. Dalit, again, only 24% of women voted for the MGB, while 31% of men voted for the MGB, Dalits. And 33% of women voted for the NDA. But interesting in all of this is because most of the Dalit vote at that time was split where the LJP is concerned. The LJP has now come into the fold of the NDA. So that vote will also go there. And put it in totality, viewers, the fact is if 10,000 rupees, it might be a one-time payment and we can't really emphasize enough on that. If 10,000 rupees has gone into, as claimed by the government, to 1 crore household, 75 lakh in the first tranche and 25 in the second tranche. Yes. 1 crore households have benefited with 10,000 rupees. This is inner state, and you have to underline it, where 60% of the state's monthly income falls below 10,000 rupees. So how big will this be? Where in a state like Maharashtra, the NDA has already primarily won an election on the basis of the Ladki Behin Yojana. So it's food for thought, lots of factors there. This is just another one. And trust us, over the course, Maria, of the next, a month and a half, you're going to find us in the studio and on the field, on the ground, getting you This is your one-stop destination, be it data analytics, be it ground reports, be it in-depth analysis, which is on India Today. And we're going to sign off with an interview that Maria did. Maria.
So Tejashwi Yadav was wrapping up his yatra in Samastipur in Bihar. I spoke to him. Listen into what Tejashwi said. Of course, he has this entire baggage of the legacy, but he's also yearning for change. Can he actually create the same buzz around him that he managed in 2020? That's the big question that will define this election 2025 in Bihar.
मंजिल एक अन्य मार्ग है, कितने दूर कितने पास?
देखिए, मंजिल जो है बिहार बनाने का है, और जब तक बिहार को हम लोग नहीं बना लेते, पढ़ाई, दवाई, कमाई, सिंचाई, कार्रवाई और सुनवाई वाली सरकार जब तक जनता को नहीं मिलेगा, तब तक बिहार आगे नहीं बढ़ सकता। और जब तक बिहार आगे नहीं बढ़ेगा, देश आगे नहीं बढ़ सकता। आप देखिएगा 20 साल से जो पुरानी जो सरकार है एनडीए की जो चल रही है, नीति आयोग की रिपोर्ट में सबसे गरीब राज्य बिहार है, सबसे ज़्यादा बेरोजगारी बिहार में है, पलायन सबसे ज़्यादा है, प्रति व्यक्ति आय सबसे कम बिहार में, निवेश सबसे कम, किसानों का जो आय है वो सबसे कम पूरे बिहार में। ना इंडस्ट्री है, ना कारखाने हैं, ना उद्योग है, ना धंधे हैं, शुगर मिल, जूट मिल बंद है, फूड प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट्स नहीं है, एग्रो बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री नहीं है बिहार में, टूरिज़्म जिस प्रकार से होना चाहिए, ज्ञान और मोक्ष की धरती है बिहार, उस हिसाब से टूरिज़्म नहीं है, खेल कूद की कोई व्यवस्था नहीं है खिलाड़ियों के लिए। तो हम लोग चाहते हैं एक बेहतर बिहार बनाने का। आप भी बिहार से हैं, हम भी बिहार से हैं, हम लोग भी चाहते हैं कि बिहार जो है अव्वल राज्यों में आए, लेकिन बिहार को बनाने के लिए विल पावर चाहिए, विजन चाहिए, जो कि इस सरकार के पास नहीं है। मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार जी का इकबाल जो है ख़त्म हो चुका है। यहाँ भ्रष्टाचार, चाहे ब्लॉक चले जाइए, थाने चले जाइए, भ्रष्टाचार ही भ्रष्टाचार है, अपराध बढ़ता जा रहा है लगातार। और मेरा मानना है कि जब तक आप अपराध मुक्त बिहार नहीं बनाइएगा, जब तक अच्छी पावर की व्यवस्था नहीं कीजिएगा, तब तक जो है इंडस्ट्री, कारखाने नहीं लगेंगे, उद्योग धंधे नहीं लगेंगे। तो हमारा प्राइमरी जो फोकस होगा, अपराध मुक्त बिहार बने और यहाँ बिजली की पर्याप्त व्यवस्था हो। अभी देश भर में सबसे महंगा बिजली जो है सबसे गरीब राज्य ले रहा है। आप समझ सकते हैं कि कितना अंतर है, क्योंकि हम खुद का बिजली जो उत्पादन करना चाहिए वो नहीं कर पाते, हम खरीदते हैं, महंगा खरीदते हैं, महंगा देते हैं लोगों को। तो हमारी कोशिश है इन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चरों पे जो है वो काम किया जाए। पॉलिटिक्स है, ठीक है, जनता मालिक है, जनता को ही चुनना है सरकार, लोकतंत्र में यही व्यवस्था है।